Hello, everyone. Here's your weather hazard briefing for the first Saturday here in June. And wash, rinse, and repeat. Wash, rinse, and repeat. That's been the forecast for the past several days, and it's going to be that way for several more days. We pretty much have a chance of heavy rainfall anywhere across central and eastern Idaho for the next few days. We might get a little bit of a reprieve here towards the early part of next week. Otherwise, that heavy rainfall is there. A day here and there, we might see a bit of a wind gust over 35 miles per hour, but the main other threat will be small hail. And as with all this moisture around, the water that's around, we do have high flows continuing on several of our rivers and creeks, and that will persist over the next several days as well. Satellite shows low pressure spinning right along the southern border of Idaho today, and it's really not going anywhere for the next 24 hours. That low eventually lifts northward during the day tomorrow and on to the north from there. This will give us a better chance of showers and thunderstorms area wide for tomorrow. Our weather risk outlook, you'll notice we continue to just highlight the same thing just about every day. We continue with our higher impacts across the southeast highlands, up across the Lost River area and the Wood River area, with our moderate impacts do continue high water levels and some flooding in those areas. Some minor flooding continuing up towards the eastern highlands as well. We've highlighted the rest of the Central Mountains for today. That's where the marginal risk for excessive rainfall lies. We have a pretty much an area-wide chance on Sunday, maybe just right along the Utah border. There is a very little chance, of minimal to no chance of flooding down there. But honestly, these storms just about every day have got quite a bit of moisture with them. So the right scenario could even fall when we don't have these excessive rainfall outlooks across the area. That's the case on Monday. We'll still have showers and thunderstorms, and then pretty much area wide Tuesday and Wednesday. It looks like any thunderstorm threat will have that heavy rainfall, a more widespread chance of heavy rainfall across the area headed towards the middle part of next week. So, and we've had a few light showers across the area today, especially around the big holes in the Teton Valley. By this afternoon, those showers and thunderstorms start to pick up, especially over the higher elevations. As we go through the afternoon, a little more coverage from the South Hills and the Albion Mountains up through the benches. Also from around Island Park, right along the Central Mountains into the Wood River area, also north towards Galena Summit, the Stanley Basin, the Sawtooth by mid-afternoon as well. We'll start to see that shifting from east to west with the lows still to our south. As we go into this evening, the best chance will be up across the Central Mountains, heading into the West Central Mountains over towards Boise. A little activity left over across the South Hills and the Albion Mountains. And we do have to watch for any outflow boundaries and thunderstorms developing along those outflow boundaries. Sometimes our higher resolution models don't pick that up very well, but that's certainly the threat again this afternoon into this evening. You'll see the moisture thinning out overnight, pretty much towards sunrise. Not much going on. A few showers down south, maybe a little more coverage than we're showing here up towards Burley and up towards the lava beds as well across the South Hills and the Albion Mountains. But we go into tomorrow, that low starts to shift northward. You can see showers and thunderstorms redeveloping. And as that low lifts to the north, we will see that threat lifting to the north. And once again, late afternoon and evening, we'll start to see that threat shifting into the Central Mountains, also up towards the West Central Mountains, and also up north McCall towards Riggins, and eventually heading up towards Lewiston and that direction as well. We go into tomorrow evening, tomorrow night, that threat of showers and thunderstorms is pretty much gone just after midnight up in that part of our forecast area. So for the rest of our forecast, temperatures today, we're looking at 60s to low 70s across the region, a little warmer down to the south, mid 60s to near 70 from Chalice over into the Stanley Basin, also down into Wood River Valley. Some 50s in the higher elevations of the Central Mountains, and down in the southeast corner of the Eastern Highlands, running about mid 60s to near 70 degrees in a few spots. Here's our precipitation for today, and you'll notice that our higher amounts will be in the big holes, where some places could see a tenth to a quarter of an inch, also a tenth to a quarter over a good chunk of the Central Mountains. But some of the higher elevations, we're looking at a quarter to half an inch as well. And again, we get a strong enough storm, enough storms going over the same area. We call that training of storms. We could get some heavier rainfall down in the lower elevations. And there is a non zero threat of seeing over a half an inch of rain up in the central mountains today, even down across the bench areas down into the South Hills and Albion Mountains. But the biggest threat for heavier rainfall has shifted into the central mountains. That's where we have the excessive rainfall outlook, that marginal risk for excessive rainfall during the day today and up towards Island Park as well. Temperatures tomorrow will add a couple of degrees across the board to that forecast. So not much of a change there temperature-wise, but it might be just enough to get some better showers and thunderstorms, some stronger showers and thunderstorms going tomorrow, and that's kind of reflected in the forecast, the models that we look in the forecast as well. There's that 1/10 to a quarter of an inch across the South Hills, Albion Mountains, the bench areas up towards the Teton Valley and the big holes. Some areas could see a quarter to half, and again, a non-zero chance in that area of looking at over a half an inch during the day tomorrow, and you can see that continues up into the central mountains as well. Generally a 1/10 to a quarter. Once you get farther north and west over towards the Sawtooth, the surrounding mountains, and even farther north and west, that quarter to half inch rainfall is there as well. And again, we don't have a lot in the Snake Plain and the Magic Valley overall both days. But again, we get a good, strong enough storm going. We get enough storms going in the same area. We can see that heavy rainfall moving out into the lower elevations. That's again today and tomorrow as well. Temperatures will start to see some low 80s cropping into the forecast. Why? With that system moving out to the north tomorrow night, we have the coverage on Monday is much lower than we've seen the past few days. That's going to allow for more sunshine. The flip side of that is if we do have enough moisture around, and we will, that we could see the coverage will be less. We could see some stronger storms. We could see some heavy rainfall, even with the lesser coverage of the storms going on Monday. Tuesday, even a little bit warmer. Wednesday, we drop it back off, but that's when we start to see the increase in coverage of showers and thunderstorms and the more widespread threat of heavy rainfall returning to our area. So looking at our river gauges, we're looking at the Big Wood River at Hailey floating right around that switch from minor to moderate flood stage, and that continues over the next several days. Antelope Creek sitting right out low end of minor flood stage, and that threat continues at this time over the next few days as well. The Bear River down towards the Idaho-Wyoming border, we're still solidly in minor flood stage. We're not going anywhere from that up or down really over the next several days. We did see a spike with some of the rainfall down in Cassia County, down around the Raft River there above 1 Mile Creek, but that was a very quick blip. We're already back down into action stage early on today. And looking at the Big Lost River up at Howell Ranch, we're again right around minor flood stage. We're not really going to change that much over the next several days, just with the what water we have in the system. All the snow melt, a lot of it is high-level snow. It's still flowing into the system slowly, and of course, we can see any of those rapid short-term rises if we get some heavy rainfall to fall over these particular rivers, especially near where the gauges are reporting. Looking down along the entire Portneuf River system, we're not looking at many changes in the forecast, although we have seen the stretch of the Portneuf around Tyhee that's now gone below action stage, which is a good thing, but we continue with higher water levels farther upstream along the Portneuf River. At Topaz, we are just steady to maybe just slowly falling over the next several days, and that stretch of the river staying in minor flood stage. Looking at our other gauges as well, you'll notice for the Portneuf at Pocatello, we continue to be right solidly in moderate flood stage. We kind of stay there, but the trend eventually is heading downward over the next few days, maybe not until we get to the end of the 10-day forecast period that we start to go down a little bit. Again, any of this is going to change, especially if we have higher amounts of rainfall across the area. And finally, the Henry's Fork at Rexburg, we're at action stage. There is still a 59-60% chance we go to minor flood stage, but we do definitely look to stay solidly in that action stage over the next several days. So like we've said, and we've said for several days now, heavy rainfall with any stronger storms across the area. We get multiple storms over the same area. Heavy rainfall can be a problem. Most of the days there will be some potential of some small hail, maybe a little bit more one day or another. The risk of gusty winds with these storms, it just depends on the day, the amount of heating as well. So that's something we'll be monitoring every day. But high flows on our rivers and creeks and streams, it's just going to be around here for a while. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. And again, if you're going anywhere near water, just remember a lot of these rivers and streams and creeks are still running pretty high, even if they're not officially in flood stage. Have a great day. And like I said, be safe, everyone.